Hey guys, welcome to my very messy room. I thought I would do my everyday glam look. I don't do this every single day, but only on days where I have time. Makeup is my makeup armor for work, so I really enjoy that. And I thought I would show you how I do it because it's been quite some time I haven't done makeup videos. So if you want to see how I get this look, keep watching. I obviously just woke up, so my voice is gonna be raspy for a bit. And I have my mirror here, so I'm gonna try every now and then to use this mirror just so that I can see what I'm doing, but I'll probably most likely be looking this way. I will start with my Bobbi Brown corrector. That's what it looks like. You've seen that before on my channel. I'm using the color Deep Peach and going with this Anastasia with this Real Techniques 2010 brush. I believe it is a concealer brush. I liked it, so I ended up buying two. One of them lives in my travel makeup bag. So I go under the eye, especially around this corner, because that's where I have most of the discoloration. By now I would have uploaded last week's video, which is about how I finally managed to get a formal ADHD diagnosis. I have been taking medication for 7 days. Today's going to be the 8th day. And I've had horrible nightmares, so I haven't been sleeping at all, and it is quite painful for me to not sleep, so my under eyes are just crazy. I would use the rest of the product to cover any massive discoloration, so I typically have a dot here. I also have a few leftover bits from my hormonal breakouts. Because I have darker skin, which is very rich in melanin, every time that I would get a spot, it takes months for it to disappear. So I do have quite a bit of hyperpigmentation, but because I do my makeup every day, I kind of already know where the spots are. I also have one here, one here. I'm not sure whether I've ever mentioned this on my channel, but about 10 years ago I was involved in a nasty car accident. And I do have some scarring under my mouth here. That's why every now and then I might also color correct that area. But as you can see, very messy. I'm not trying to make it perfect. The reason why I prefer the Bobbi Brown corrector to using one that is very professional, like the red one from MAC, and also all the YouTubers using the red hue stick and red lipstick and things like that, is because it is so discreet that eventually, if I were in a hurry, I could just go out like this and I would be fine with it, right? Whereas with the red corrector, you still need to use product on top. The Bobbi Brown Peach correctors, I feel that they have the right consistency, the right coloring, such that if I wanted to just stop there, I could. Obviously, today I won't. I'm not using any primer, so I will go straight into foundation. I'm currently using the Fenty Beauty foundation. This is the original one. I have my palette, which is dirty. You will notice a common theme is that everything I own is dirty. I'm gonna wash it later on Sunday, but let's just keep it real. Like, I don't wash my stuff every day. So, one single pump. My color is 370, and then I go with the Fenty Beauty brush that they sell. It's the very dense one, and I really like it. The reason I bought it was because when they were testing the foundation on me in the store, they used this brush, and I loved how dense it was. That's my phone. That means I'm late for something. Usually I try to budget something like 20 minutes for me to do my makeup, because for me it's part of waking up, and also I tend to do it very sloppily, but then I spray a lot of product on top of it, and then it just unifies it. So you just go. You can see there is a bit of drag because there isn't much product at all. One pump. Before buying this foundation, when I was looking at the reviews, I saw that people used 4 or 5 pumps. That to me is a lot. I use a single pump, and I only use it around here and around here. There is nothing that goes on my chin, nothing that goes on my nose, and nothing on my forehead. I just don't like to have foundation in there, and I feel that this looks a lot more natural. You can still see my texture, you can see some differences in color. I don't want to have a perfect look. It is my glam work look, but still, I'm not looking for perfection. Okay, so that's the foundation done. Anything left, I'm going to just run over the areas that have no product on them, just to not have any harsh demarcation lines. So that's that. Then I'm going with my concealer. This is the Too Faced Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer in butterscotch. Now you'll notice that all of these products are new. I bought them within the last month. I'm very happy with my purchases. It's just some of the best decisions I've made. I was going through a stressful period, and then I felt at some point that I finally managed to get my control over, become like as on top of things as I've always been, and that's a very good feeling. How it manifested is that I started going back to things that defined me before, one of them being a makeup lover. So this is not because I can't leave the house without it, it's because I actually generally enjoy going back to makeup and playing with colors, etc. So I only had the concealer dipped once into the bottle, and I spread it. I love the applicator, it's very wide. I almost don't need to rework the concealer in my eyes, because the applicator is smooth enough, the product is smooth enough that it actually can spread without much help from a brush afterwards. But for my everyday makeup, I like it to not be very noticeable. Butterscotch is just one little bit lighter than my skin tone. I have also a concealer that is a little bit darker than my skin tone, and that's what I use on my weekend makeup whenever I need to go somewhere but I can't be bothered, because on weekends I don't really wear any foundation or anything. So that's the concealer done. You can tell, not much blending. I'm gonna go with a damp beauty blender. I managed to find one that was in a beige color, which I think is very nice. I don't like the garish pink color. I nearly choked there. So just pressing it like that, and then like that. Then I go with my Laura Mercier. This part you've seen in almost every makeup YouTuber. I'm gonna put a little bit of that on my beauty blender, go under my eye, look down, I look up. I like to do that. This is not proper baking, because the amount of product that I'm using is not really that much of a baking amount, but I like to do that while I'm working on everything else. Everything else being the brows. I have been loving doing bushy brows. So I have a couple products from Anastasia. This is the number 7B brush, and I'm just going to brush all my hair up. I don't have much. I'm trying to grow it back again, but the problem with my eyebrow hairs is that they just tend to be a bit light. So I also need to fill them. I have the Anastasia Dip Brow in pomade in medium brown. And then I'm going to go with very light strokes to fill my brows. I do this very messily. I go upwards. Unlike people who spend 15 minutes on their brows, I don't care that it's perfect. So upwards, then to the side, elongate the tail, dip a little bit once more, elongate the tail a bit further, sharpen this bit, and I'm good to go. That's essentially it. So I will brush through upwards again. I always brush upwards because I feel like it gives me a bushy look, and that also unveils where I might have a little bit of bald spots. Same thing for the other eyebrow, except that mine should start a bit here. I have a bit of a bald spot in at front. How do I do this on camera without messing it up? Like, my arms are twisted because that's a very weird angle, but we'll roll with it. So I just fill the front, go to the base a little bit to see where the base should have started, then fill a little bit more in here. Made a mistake, beep, and there it goes. When it's still in the pomade stage, it's fine. Then here I have a massive bald spot, as you could tell. Then that's where I brush a little bit, fill it up. Back in business. I have a brow, I have an arch, I have a tail. Usually when I'm not filming, obviously, I have my music on, I'm sipping tea. It's a very nice ritual, and it goes a little bit faster because now I actually have to think about what I'm doing and then describe it to you. But because it's the same routine all the time, I actually reached the point where I have stopped thinking about it. So that is for the eyebrows. Sometimes when my eyebrows are overdue for a pluck, I use this Pro Pencil Eyeshadow Primer and Color Corrector by Anastasia Beverly Hills. My color is in base 3, and just I draw a line under my eyebrow, focusing on this arch bit and cleaning the tail. The first line, second line, and that's it. Same thing on the other side. First line, focus on this archy bit, the tail. Doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing in my makeup has to be perfect. This has a rather creamy consistency. And then I go with this Anastasia brush. This is the number 20. It also has a spoolie on this side, but I will go with this flat side, and I just drag it downwards so that it kind of immediately melts into the rest of my eyelid. Even though this thing comes from a pencil, it's actually quite creamy. And then I go and I brush, this time quite vigorously, because I don't want to have a very clear line. I just want to have that lighter color under, so that if there are any really hairs that shouldn't be there, they're covered. But I also don't want it to be like that Instagram brow. I hate Instagram brows. They freak me out. In real life, they never look cute, just so you know. Never. Then, depending on how much time I have, I might do my eyes. I have a tiny base. It's from Fenty again. And so I will just, this is the travel size, I guess, just like that and like that. I don't re-dip or anything. It's a doe foot applicator that feels, and that's my mirror. It's a doe foot applicator that feels a bit spongy, and when you apply it, it kind of feels like you just applied, what does it feel like? Let me think. At first it feels like a cream, and then the more you pat it, the stickier it gets. Now for the eye look, because I do it very fast, I'm going to zoom you in, but I'm also going to look here, because I don't want to spend half a day doing my eye look on just for the camera. I go with this brush. I think it was from Primark. I've already made my quad for autumn, which I have been using religiously. MAC Arena, MAC Soft Brown, MAC Red Brick, and Anastasia Caramel, which is the latest addition to my collection. I haven't bought an eyeshadow in ages, but this is an eyeshadow that I wanted so much that I waited months and months and months and tried to find dupes in my collection, and then decided, you know what, Uga, just bite the bullet and get it. It's not because it's expensive. I mean, it's only £12, which compared to my MAC things is not very, very expensive, but it's more that I know I have so many eyeshadows, I shouldn't be getting more, but that's why I had to wait until I was really sure I didn't have any other eyeshadow. Then I go with a MAC 217, which is very saturated already in product. That means I should have washed it. And then I just go messily all over my lid. I don't even bother to try and close my lid. I just want to pat the color all over. And that is the Anastasia Caramel. I feel it's very, very warm. I love it. And for this eye makeup look, you'll notice that I don't even go with a close-up mirror. Actually, most of my makeup I don't go with a mirror at all. I just look here. I could actually get a small mirror here and do it, but you know, my apartment is so crowded, and I'm getting I use a storage unit where I have to pay some money every month, right? And I'm gutted that I have to pay £140 a month for my storage. So my plan for the next 2 or 3 months is to actually bring back everything that I had in storage, but not feel as cluttered as before. Talk about a challenge, right? Then I'm gonna go, this is a short MAC 275. I had it in one of those holiday kits, and I'm gonna go with the soft brown color. And I keep my eyes open, I look straight, and then I just go into the crease, and I only do half of it, like that. 1, 2, 3. I feel it gives depth to my eye. And then I go back with just the brush that I had used with MAC Arena. I don't add any product, but I just kind of soften the edges. and that's about it. I'm not gonna clean it up, I'm not gonna neaten it or anything. That is good enough. The last bit that I'm gonna do is actually go and do exactly the same thing, but in the bottom lashes. So I started liking to mimic what I had in the top. So this is a MAC 228, and I'm gonna go in the bottom lashes very sloppily with Anastasia Caramel. It's not precise, it's not lining, it's not very dramatic. You will see that once I spray my face, all of this stuff that looks a bit dramatic is going to just disappear. Then I go with a pencil brush and I go with the soft brown and do the little 1/3. This is the step that is most likely to feel dramatic, so if you don't want to do it, you can skip, because that's a dark color, but it also matches the top and bottom, right? Okay, at this point I'm done with my quad. I will take my Caudalie lip moisturizer and prime my lips. Then take a big fluffy brush, close my eyes, and then wipe on the powder. I close my eye this way, you know, what you can even see the wrinkles, such that it's very taut under here, so I don't have any edges, any creases or anything like that. Then I go with the rest of the Laura Mercier all over my face. I will show you the makeup in natural daylight, because now I just feel like with all the artificial lighting, it's just... I don't have filming lights though, it's just artificial lighting. Then, what do I do now? One step that is really optional, but I really like to do, is create fake freckles. Because I do have freckles, but once I apply all these multiple layers of makeup, they just disappear. And because my layers are brown and I have a very brown skin, the contrast is not high enough, and so when you apply makeup, it just looks like my freckles are just discoloration, which is a form of discoloration, but you know, like, it just looks like my skin is very uneven. So I will go with this Swish brush by Anastasia and another Anastasia, what's this called? Dip Brow. This is in Auburn, so it does have a strong red undertone, and I already know where all my, you can see them, I guess. I already know where my moles and freckles are, so I just go over them very messily. Because I do this every day, I already know their location. This one on the nose, this one, whoops, that's too big, fine. And then I have 3 on one side of my nose, which is just disheartening. Then I put some things randomly, very messily. And then I go on these ones. I have a friend who has moles, and he has names for some of them. Like he has moles for name for a mole that is in his hand, on his wrist. So I have done all of these moles that I typically know. I have one here, one here. I have one. Where did it go? I can't see it. It disappeared. The reason why I still quote them is because I know that during the day they're going to reappear. So I've done a few. You can probably see them. They won't look like that. Trust me, I'm gonna be very, very muted in a minute. I go with the Fenty Beauty, not this one. I go with the Fenty Beauty, the light one. So I have this one, Honey. That's the one I inherited from my sister, which started my Fenty Beauty saga. Take a bit of it. It has a lot of flyaway, just so that, you know, kick back. Just know that. So I go over the center of my whole face. It has a very light scent, which is borderline. Like, I don't mind it, but if it were any bit more, I would have stopped using the products, just because I don't like scented products. God, this lighting is killing me. Don't worry guys, I'm gonna show you in real light. I just need to show you the steps right, because I love this look. I feel I look glamorous at the end of it, and I'm ready for war. And by the way, this is the last week on my current project. I might have to work one more day or something, but it's the last week, so I'm closing everything. I'm really in war mode And then I go with the darker Fenty Beauty. Told you it's a beat. Look, the darker one is in a color called Hazelnut. And then I'm gonna just use it for the bottom half of my face. Again, a lot of kickback. You feel this thing flying all over the place. But as much as you can see all this powder, it's going to disappear once I spray it. Which is why I'm very generous with my spray. My powder beard is done. Then my favorite product from Fenty would be the Fenty Beauty Sunstalker Bronzer. My color is Coco. Actually, I could use Caramel Cutie, but I really love a red bronzer, just because I love looking like I burnt in the sun. Today I'm not even wearing sunscreen. Like whenever there isn't much sun, like it's sunny, but honestly the only sun I'm gonna see is about 8 minutes when I go to the tube station, and then maybe a little bit at lunchtime, but by then it will be all cloudy, and that's it. I was debating whether or not to do a winged liner. Then I decided, you know what, I'm already late, might as well commit all the way to the end. So it's gonna be very tricky because I don't know how to do a winged liner on camera. I barely do it in front of my mirror. So I have the Bobbi Brown, I have the brush, and just go over it like that, dun, coat it a little bit. Then that's why I have this stained palette, because I like to flatten it a bit, flatten the brush, that is. Then I might do it just like that. I start with the wing, I look straight, draw a wing, and drag it. 1, 2, and then I feel the inside. That's it, actually. I'm very low maintenance when it comes to my wing liner. Nothing dramatic. So I'm gonna continue filling it until it's black enough for my liking, and then I'm gonna go under and fill under the lashes. See? Nothing overkill. It's not the 1920s. So I'm gonna do the other eye off camera and I'll come back. Then I go with whatever is left on that palette, and then I slightly gently pull this and just darken a little bit the edges of my eyes. The thing is, I don't like to use mascara on my bottom lashes, but I also don't like to have a white line, so that is as dark as it's gonna get. I'll do the same on the other eye. Yeah, not much product left on this one. There you go. Then, you know, it sounds tedious. Beauty is a commitment, I'm telling you. No, but honestly, this gets me in the mood, and by the time I'm done, I just wake up. Obviously, there are days where I don't do much, but yeah. I go with my favorite product, which is Mud Pumpkin blush. I've had it for a few years now. I can go out and look at so many different blushes. I still end up going back to this one. Then, I go heavy-handed on the blush, because the moment I spray it, in 2 minutes after walking out the door, it all disappears. I feel like my skin eats blush. Some days I might use primer, but I'll save that for another look. You're looking all blushed, sun-kissed. Then gel. I will now set my eyebrows, because as I said earlier, my eyebrows are very light. When I say light, it's in how the hair is, like it's not very weighted, and so it tends to move very easily. And then I go and brush it vigorously to remove any powder fallout. Again, always brush upwards, and then I just draw the brush slightly like that. Toop, toop. I leave a few crazy hairs. I don't mind. I don't want it to be perfect. Mascara. This is absolutely not my favorite mascara. I hate it, but I had it, so I'm gonna use it. This is from Essence, I guess. Yeah, Essence All Eyes on Me. Anyway, because I don't really need mascara, I just use it to clean up a little bit of the powder. I don't need dramatic lashes, so I just clean up the powder, make sure that they're back in a single row, because sometimes, since my eyelashes are very curly, they tend to like get mingled. That takes away some of the foundation that probably accumulated on my thing. Then I'm gonna have the Caudalie Beauty Elixir. I'm gonna be very generous with that, and then I'm gonna come back on camera to put on a little bit of lipstick, and in the meantime I'm gonna just get dressed. Alright, so now I'm late and I'm trying to find a way to film. I'm going with MAC Marrakesh, and I just place it a little bit here. Then I go with my finger and smudge it very messily. So I'm wearing this jumper. It has mustard, it has beige, it has aubergine, an aubergine skirt, aubergine tights, and a tweed jacket with a collar that is also mustard. So this is what my makeup looks like in natural light. You can still see some of my freckles. By the time I make it to the office, they're gonna be gone. Hey guys, so it's a bit over 10 hours later. I haven't retouched my makeup or anything. This is horrible lighting, but I hope you can see. I have no makeup left on my nose. It's so cold out there. My freckles, real ones, are starting to show. I haven't retouched anything. The oils are through. I have a little bit of crease in here. You can see a little bit of the texture, but from afar I love how this makeup looks. So it's been my go-to for the past few days. The only thing that I do differently whenever I have more time is that if it's going to be extremely sunny, I would apply sunscreen, and if I have more time or I expect to be running around for a long time, I would also add a primer so that I don't have that shiny bit. Today I knew I was finishing early. It's only 6:30 p.m. So I'm not having as long a day as I would normally have, which is why I did not need a primer. I didn't feel the need to have that extra layer. So yeah. For completeness sake, I thought I'd show you what the makeup looks like when it's a cloudy day, because it's my everyday makeup. So you can see the texture a little bit more, you can see a little bit more of the freckles. I opted for the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk, and it's a softer color, but everything else is the same. Oh, there's an angry boss. What else? I need to go to work, I'm late.